the reason why so many people come to your site and leave without buying is they have an unanswered question or they don't trust you.
Welcome to the Mastering E-commerce Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Eitan Koter, co-CEO of Vimy. In an era of rising acquisition costs and increased competition, this podcast is dedicated to helping you drive sales, engage customers, and build meaningful communities so you can turn passive visitors into active buyers. Now let's get started with the episode. Today's guest is Matthew Stafford, managing partner at Build, Grow, Scale, and one of the most respected voices in e-commerce optimization. With over 30 years of entrepreneurial experience, Matthew has helped hundreds of e-commerce brands break through the $1 million ceiling, many soaring past 8 figures. He's a master of conversion rates optimization, back-end systems, and profit-first growth strategies. Whether from the stage or behind the scenes, Matthew is all about helping businesses scale substantially and profitability. Get ready to a powerful conversation packed with actionable insight from a true e-commerce veteran. Hey, Matthew, how are you? Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excellent. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, so looking forward as well. Exciting topic for today. But before we get started and dive into the real topic, Matthew, if you can share 3 words that better describe you and are important to you and why.
I would say radically authentic honesty. And I believe that not only do other people deserve for you to be honest, I think when you can share honestly how you're feeling, that there's a lot of connection built in that, even though our brain tries to convince us that, I can't say that or I can't share that or else they won't like me.
Interesting. I love the radical approach to authenticity, and that's a really advanced one because it's such a commonly used word today, right? Authenticity, that everyone find it to be really important for differentiation, and it's getting more difficult to dive into yourself as a company, as a brand, and try to figure out what's so authentic about you. So the radical approach is important, yeah.
And I believe that people do business with other people. So the more important that your personal brand becomes, if they can know, like, and trust you, they're going to want to do business with your company. But they're not going to ever have that true feeling of know, like, and trust if all you're doing is showing them the highlight reel, because they personally understand all their own flaws and they're not going to relate to you if all you do is talk about your wins.
Exactly. Or your products or features. And the idea is that you need to build some solid foundation of personal relationship, even a digital version of it, right? Just to make sure people are more confident to make a purchase or even be open to accept a proposal from you.
I agree.
That's very, very important. So Matthew, I know you speak a lot about profitability, right? And how e-commerce businesses can be profitable. What's the foundational building blocks of your process in terms of e-commerce profitability?
Yeah, for me, it is being able to convert traffic at a rate that you can buy more profitably. And the higher that traffic costs go, the harder it is to do that. And like we were discussing before the call started or before the recording started, that traffic's really not the problem. If the ads are sending people to your website and they're not converting, then it's really a site problem. And most e-commerce sites convert around 2%. And that means for every 100 people coming, 98 people had raised their hand, clicked on an ad or searched for you, and then couldn't get their questions answered confidently enough for them to buy from you. So I always thought it was broken to go try to buy another 100 visitors. I was like, how do I get 4 of those visitors instead of 2? Then I've doubled my sales on the same amount of ad spend. And now what that means is I can afford to buy more traffic than my competitor, which means I'll win market share. And Dan Kennedy always said, he who can afford to spend the most to acquire the customer wins.
How do you identify that you have a conversion problem and not a traffic problem?
Uh, every site has a conversion problem. Even the highly optimized ones do. And the reason why I say that is if you got to talk to every one of those visitors, what would your closing percentage be? Hopefully it'd be 30, 40, 50% or better.
Mm-hmm.
The truth of the matter is the site doesn't convert anywhere near that. But your website is your conversation with that person that's done at scale. So how do we figure out how to get it done at scale? I do believe that, eventually sites will convert at those kind of rates, especially with AI when it's very personalized and it's directed to exactly what that particular customer needs and gets their questions answered. I always say that the reason why so many people come to your site and leave without buying is they have an unanswered question or they don't trust you. So those two things are paramount in how we look at the website in order to make it create more profitability.
Yeah. But obviously, every brand, even the same niche with the same product, has its own story and customer sentiment, and you need to analyze what's working and what's not, and what is usually the process that you take to identify, and how do you use data to try to identify areas of improvement in good site optimization and conversion.
Yeah, for us, data is, I don't believe that you can do a good job of optimizing without the data. We do conversion rate optimization all day, every day. And if we have to guess with no data, we're probably wrong more than half the time. Using the data, we can make very educated decisions and much better, uh, much better results with a lot less effort.
Yeah, but it seems that there are a lot of data right now. Like it's an overwhelming amount of data, right? I mean, what's type of data that is interesting? What do you look for when you look at those areas of optimization?
Yeah, well, it depends. Every area of the site's different. What we're trying to do is what is the next most important action on the page. So if it's on a category page, we want them to use the filters, and if they use the filters, we know that they convert at a much higher level. If it's on the product page, we want to give them the information that they need to make the buying decision. And the next most important action is to add it to the cart. So how do we um, give them enough information to make a buying decision and enough information that they trust us to move to the next step? On the homepage, your homepage is literally not designed to sell. It's what is your unique value proposition? Uh, did I land on the right site? And then easy navigation to what I'm looking for. If they have easy navigation to what they're looking for, they convert at a much higher level. And we know that's true because search traffic and your filter traffic are the two most high converting forms of traffic that you have, which means when they can use a tool to land on what they're looking for, they'll convert at twice the average of the site, and they'll spend twice as much as the average visitor. So we want as many people as possible to use those two elements.
What are some of the tools that you use to gather data and analyze them?
We're very heavy users of Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics. There's a lot of tools that come out that try to do what they do, and they might be good in certain use cases, but the truth of the matter is Google owns the data, and if you really learn their system and how to operate it, the amount of granular detail that you can get is absolutely incredible. And we use it every single day to optimize anywhere from lead gen sites all the way up to e-commerce sites.
What are some of the insights that you have from GA4? I mean, I hear so many different feedbacks on this platform, and well, what do you think about this new group?
I think when they first migrated over to it, there was about probably 10, 12 months of what we felt was inferior data compared to the old way. But now, you know, setting things up server side and multiple different tools that they've given us, we haven't found anything else that, that works better for us, and because we work across about 12 or 13 partner stores. And so having one platform that we use for every single one of them is by far for us the easiest way to analyze everything that's going on.
Do you have any tips or recommendations about J4? I mean, how to approach the platform, to use it?
I don't, because I'm not the one that sets it up. I have, 3 guys on our team that do that. And that's a whole nother skill set besides the conversion. What I would say is having someone who understands the data, set it up and create a dashboard, which is very easy now with Data Studio that they give you, where a person who doesn't understand GA4, doesn't understand the tag manager, if the data is set up right and you have that proper Data Studio with the KPIs you want, it's much easier for the store owner to go in and look and make educated decisions.
Yeah. And then we spoke previously about profit first, strategy or even growth approach. This is obviously very true after COVID, right? And the focus on profitability, operational efficiency, obviously conversion rate optimization, websites. Now, do you think this is very important for any size of brand in terms of their life cycle stages, right? I mean, when you just started or you're in a growth phase, you're in reaching some
Yeah,
saturation.
as long as you're not independently wealthy and you're investing for the long term with a brand,
Mhm.
I think that the way that you create a brand is through profitable sales. We're not doing this. I've not met any business owners that are literally in business to lose money. And so if you're losing money, your rate of pay, you'd be better off to go get a job. So I definitely believe that profitability is the number one reason why you should even have a business. And if you can't have a profitable business, then you might as well work with inside of another company that's going to make you money, because there's no reason to do it for free.
Yeah. And it seems that optimizing for profitability is becoming a more complicated task, right? As cost of advertising is increasing, cost of affiliates is increasing, right? I mean, you need to pay a lot for marketing, obviously optimizing your supply chains, and yes, it's very
Yeah.
on the details just to optimize everything and across the entire value chain to make sure everything is in sync and optimized.
I think that that's one area that a lot of store owners fall short in. They try to run traffic in too many channels before they figure out how to make one, until they figure out how to get really good at one. They think, oh, I need to do TikTok. I need to do Facebook. I need to do Google. I need to do blah, blah, blah. What they really need to do is be profitable. And the way to do that is to get good at one channel and understand it. And most people, if they could figure out one channel really good, they would have a profitable business. Email marketing is, I think, the lifeblood of the e-commerce business. It should be between 25 and 40% of your revenue. And that's the most profitable revenue that you'll ever have. So if you can get to the point where you can acquire the customer at break even, but you can get them to come back again and again through email and through nurturing a relationship, that's how you have a good long-term business. It's amazing how many of them are focused on just keep making sales. And then they have all these people on their customers that they're not treating like clients, and they don't come back and buy from them again. They have no loyalty. They just go to the next person that's selling the next widget because they haven't figured out that channel.
Yeah, retention is so fundamentals, right, for increasing profitability, because obviously cost of acquiring this new customer is very low compared to a new customer. So what are some of the mistakes that you see that e-commerce brands are making, when trying to scale or trying to, improve profitability?
Yeah, most sites are too complicated. They have way too much stuff on them. Simplicity scales and chaos fails. And so the more that they try to stick on there, or the more things that they try to offer, the more complex the site gets, the harder it is to manage inventory, etc. The harder it is for them to keep their business going. Everybody thinks if I offer more, that will make it better and I'll have a chance for more sales. And the truth of the matter is that creates a paradox of choice. So getting really good and getting really dialed in on what you specialize in is a better strategy than being a general store.
Yes. Yeah. So it's all about simplicity, right? That's the main theme, right? Start with one marketing channel, maybe one product line, and just focus on that, make it profitable. And then once it's set up, is done, then obviously grow further, right?
Yeah, we have a client right now. They literally offer one product, and this year they'll do over $60 million, and it's a 3-year-old business, going on 4 years old. So, it is literally possible to create an amazing business with one product and just do that better than your competitors do. And really their strategy is not to be the low price leader. They're not. Their competitors are less money, but they actually do such a good job with customer support because the product requires education. They even have people that will talk to their salespeople and say, well, I can get it cheaper over here. And the salesman will tell them, well, then go buy it over there and then use our site for customer support. And the people will be like, oh, well, if you're still going to give me customer support, I'd rather just buy it from you. And they do. And so their customer centric focus has allowed them to create an amazing business in a matter of, it's been amazing ever since the first year, but it's just gotten, exponentially better through making sure the customer has a world-class experience no matter what.
Yeah. And what is the main channel that they're focusing on in terms of marketing?
They use an affiliate, so they actually don't drive hardly any traffic. They went and partnered up with a couple of large YouTube brands, and those YouTube brands promote them, and that's all it took.
Wow. Nice. Nice. So it's for video and affiliate partnerships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. So tell us about Build, Grow, and Scale. Tell us about the agency, what type of services you provide, which type of customers you're approaching.
Yeah. Well, we have all kinds of free resources on our site at buildgrowscale.com. The goal is we want you to make as many sales as possible so that eventually you could get to the point where we could partner with you and take care of all of your data analytics, split testing, and website optimization while you focus on supplying product and customer service. And so we do that. We partner, probably we're growing 2 or 3 brands a year that we'll partner with and help them build, grow, and scale. We really are looking for people that are doing $100,000 a month or more. And then when you already have something working, it's much easier to optimize it and get that exponential growth that you're looking for, especially if you're doing it profitably. To grow requires money. Even profitable growth sometimes requires money. So
Sure.
there's a lot of levers, that go into that.
Interesting. And probably you help them a lot with the important, aspects of what actually moved the needle, right? To taking that next steps forward, right?
Yeah, we've been doing this for 10 years and, we've helped a community of entrepreneurs hit, I think we're around 170 of them have hit the $1 million mark in a year. We have low 20s hit the $10 million mark. And now, we have 2 or 3 that'll hit the $100 million mark this year.
Wow. Impressive. Impressive. So you mentioned before about just trying to be successful with one marketing channel, let's say one product, even one product line. How do you figure out at the beginning where to focus? I mean, you try to analyze your ICP, trying to think where they're spending most of their time, or how do you figure out this first? Because maybe the thought process will be, okay, let's start with some marketing channels, see what's working, and then focus, or let's analyze before where our customers spending their time and just focus on that.
Yeah,
At the platform.
I think the research, I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs fall short. They think they are their customer and they make a lot of assumptions rather than doing the deep dive research of understanding what language do they use, where do they hang out, uh, who, a lot of times people can be in your audience, but they're not problem aware yet. And so there's a lot of different stages. I think that people are at three different stages. One, they're unaware. Two, they're aware. Three, they're ready to buy.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to build their business on the people that are ready to buy instead of worrying about educating people about their problem and then creating the awareness and then making the sales. And if you think about it, if they say that three times the sales are made, I'm trying to think of how they word that. Essentially, when if two out of 100 buy immediately, so you convert at 2%, you have about 6 people that are going to buy within the next 90 days to 6 months. And nobody is worried about that. But if you think about it, that would triple your business if you had a long-term plan and we're working on nurturing those people. So once you get those people on your list, that email marketing that we talked about is literally the make it or break it lever that matters the most for a long-term sustained success.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of that first step of trying to select the channel you want to focus, there is also some kind of a market research probably involved, right? What
Yeah,
are some?
I would definitely say, Google or Meta. I think Meta is a lot more interruption marketing, so it depends on the type of product that you have, if your audience is over there or not. Google for sure has enough tools and enough demographic info
Yeah.
I think is the first one that's the easiest to get profitable. And I could be wrong, based off of products, but in the physical product space, we've always found that Google is the easiest one to actually be profitable with.
Yeah. Clear, clear. What are some of the steps that you usually take on this optimization process, specifically around how do you implement like A/B testing, how much time you take for testing things out and figure out,
Yeah.
what's working, what's not?
Yeah. So for sure, we use a couple of different tools, Convert, Visual Website Optimizer. We
Mhm.
used to use Optimizely, which was really nice because it was the data came right from Google and imported nicely. Hopefully they'll come out with another tool. Uh, yeah, once we use those, the test, depending on what you're testing, determines how you're going to get statistical significance. So if you're doing a test on your homepage and that gets lots of hits, or on your product page and that gets a lot of ad driven to it, the test is going to be significant quite a bit sooner than if it's a cart optimization. Because you're going to have on an average, maybe 10% of your visitors are going to add to cart.
Traffic over there, yeah.
Yeah. So it really depends on what you're optimizing for and where in the funnel that you're running the test. One thing that we do say though is that all tests should run a minimum of 7 days so that you have an entire week's cycle on it. Otherwise, it's very easy to get some false positives and think that something's winning. And in the end, if you jump on it too quick, you're not going to actually see any gain from it.
Interesting. No, it's clear. It's clear. Obviously, there are a lot of parameters and I mean, trying not to just fall in love and too much about the specific product page or description or anything. Just use this testing and trying to figure out what's working. Again, the amount of traffic per each page is very, very, I think, important feedback. Obviously, it
Yeah,
helps,
I would
right?
say function over form. Everybody's worried about everything being beautiful and fancy fonts and all this other stuff. And we continue to uh, get higher conversions and more sales from simple uh, simple pages, less variations in the font, easy to read, clear call to action, not a whole bunch of words, make it browsable. There's so many different things that you can do that they fall in love with how it looks instead of how it functions.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, that costs a lot of site owners, a lot of sales because they can't get out of their head, their ego with how their site looks compared to how it sells.
Yeah. Wow, that's a very, very important topic. How do you analyze competition in this process? I mean, do you care? Do you try to get some insight, get some reference, get some intelligence?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. We actually even survey people, first time buyers, and ask them what other sites that they visited,
Mm-hmm.
what made them choose this one. One of the most important optimizations that we do on every new site we work on is we put a survey on their thank you page that asks the question, what was the one thing that almost made you not buy? And those people will tell you all kinds of information because they've just spent money with you on what you could have done better, what they didn't understand, what they would have appreciated. And we use that on every one of our sites in order to make more sales consistently.
Wow. And this survey has proven effective. Did you find some repetitive
I would say that we've probably had 5 or 6 of our biggest wins over the last 4 or 5 years from that one question. Millions and millions of dollars in optimizations from that one.
Just one question, you have the patience, right, to respond, right? Because you made a purchase, you want to help, you already feel engaged, right?
Yeah. Yep. About probably 10 to 20% of your buyers will answer it for you. So it takes a few weeks to get enough information to make a decision. You don't want to take all the outliers, but you'll see patterns by the time you get 100, 200 responses.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a number you need to reach, right? To get some
Yeah.
insights. Matthew, what do you see that if we go up a little bit on a macro level about the e-commerce, about the industry, D2C, right? Do you see some major shifts or changes lately, or how do you see the future in terms of technology being implemented or?
Yeah. Yeah. I think AI is certainly going to help a lot of small stores convert a lot better. And so I see it as a win. I think that it's going to help a lot of site owners be able to operate very well with a smaller team. So these tools are basically turning the employees into super employees, and where it used to take 4 or 5 customer service people, now you can get away with one in a part-time. And so that makes it much easier to run a profitable business and scale. And I really believe that businesses don't really have a business problem. They have a people problem. And the reason why I say that is because in every single market, there's businesses that are doing very, very well. And then there's businesses that are struggling. And 90% of the time, 99% of the time, the only reason why the one is struggling is because the people that they have um, is causing the issue, not the product.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah. So, what is the best way to find you and the agency?
Yeah, just go to buildgrowscale.com and my email is matt@buildgrowscale.com, and you can get on my calendar and I would take a look at your site, give you a free audit, walk through it, and see where we could provide some value or at least give you some resources that would make the journey a little more fun for you.
Great. I have another, probably last question that is very interesting for me to ask, Matthew. How do you see the role of agencies, right, in this new era of AI and uh, superhumans? Do you see any shifts? Do you see any changes in responsibilities?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to buy a lot of tools and get rid of their agency to start with, and they're going to realize that the tools still require knowledge how to work it. So I think the people who learn how to use the tools and provide a better service for their clients are going to be the ones that are going to be left after all these people go try the tool and then come back and realize that the tool isn't superhuman. It's super when it's used by a human.
Yes, exactly. And what I feel and see a lot is that a lot of companies are just transitioned to ChatGPT and others, and they're just killing their brand, right? Because they stop thinking, and they think that like ChatGPT is like a god that knows everything, right? And obviously it's a company, there's a hidden interest behind it, and they cannot replace creativity and thinking that are very, very crucial. That's, as you said, companies are people, and you need to have the right people.
Yeah, and most people don't actually, the tools are awesome when you use them correctly.
Yeah.
It can analyze data way better than we can as humans, but it only analyzes it according to how we ask it to. And so the better we've got at using it, the better data that we get from it, which is giving us an unfair advantage to someone who, asks it for 2 or 3 questions and then uses that generic output as a savior for their problem, and it's not.
Sure. Great, Matthew. It was very, very interesting. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to add?
Good luck. I want, I really do believe that this is the greatest time in the world to be alive and to experience what we're going through right now. As these different tools fight with each other, we're the beneficiaries because they're continuing to add more features and options and stuff like that are available to us. And as they fight that out, all of the tools that we get to use will help us do a better job if we invest the time and effort into it. And I really believe that e-commerce is in the 3rd or 4th inning of a long baseball game. So we have a long ways to go, and there's plenty of room for a lot of people to do very well.
Exactly. And also like in the US, I think it's like a quarter of the overall retail sales are online, right? So plenty of room for growth and transformations.
100%.
Thank you so much, Matthew. It was really
Thanks for having me.
Had a pleasure having you. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content. Explore Vimy, the video commerce platform that includes live shopping, shoppable video, and social commerce capabilities. Visit Vimy at www.vimy.net. We appreciate your support and look forward for bringing you more valuable insight in our next episode.